right, coach. All right. So, all right. So let's get that back on. All right. So as I was saying, so four parts of this class today: the marketing mindset, why to refine the actual 5-step marketing mastery system, and then how to implement the system. So this one strategy will encompass all of your marketing as an entrepreneur, and even as you grow your business, these 5 processes will continue to be the same. You don't have to deviate. You don't have to change it. So you are currently here. So most entrepreneurs, and you can give me a thumbs up in the chat if I'm right. Most entrepreneurs have watched video after video, webinar. You've gotten advice from this person, this person. You've created a product or a service, or you have a product or service, and you're like, man, this thing is really amazing. You know that it's great, but then when it comes to the number of people that you believe should be getting it, that number doesn't match what you believe. You have some things going, but it's like, yo, like I know I'm good at what I do, but why aren't more people rocking with me? Why aren't more people in my face about it? And I've tried this strategy, I've tried this strategy, I've tried this method, I've tried this method, but yet the numbers aren't what I want them to be. Whether that number is the number of people calling your phone, the number of people of booking, the number of clients that are onboarding, it's like, okay, I'm not getting that number that I feel I should be having. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if that's kind of where you're at right now. You're like, I'm doing okay, but uh, okay is not where I want to be. I want to be at that next level. Uh, so here's where you want to be. And of course, at the end of the day, everybody's statement about what they do is uh, it really boils down to making more money. And for many people, our outlook on it, on our business is, oh, I want to help people. Yes, you want to help people, but you wouldn't be on this call if you didn't want to help people and also make money. Like it's okay to want to help people, but then at the balancing point is, how can I help people and be compensated for the ability to make an impact in their life, whether it's a good or service. So it really boils down to, like, all the other things on this list matter. Hey, to be certain about what you're doing, to get more engagement, all of that stuff matters. But really what pushes us forward is the freedom of making enough income through our businesses to sustain, while also being of value to our audience. Because again, if number one wasn't true, you would do what you're doing for free and that number wouldn't matter. So how many of you, just by a fist in the camera or by a thumbs up, can honestly say that at the end of the day you want more income from your efforts? You want more income from your efforts. So we're going to get into it, but before I get to the first step, let's make sure that you're taking notes. Make sure that if you have that aha moment, on your Zoom, there's a ability to raise your hand. So if you need me to pause because you're like, oh, you're going too fast, and I need that answer. I need to write this down. I'm trying to catch up. Just there's a feature on the thing where you can raise your hand so that I can pause. Or if you have a question, we'll actually get into those because the Q&A session will be at the end. So let's get started. And then at this point, I'm gonna actually allow y'all to, to open up your mics to be able to respond to this. So the marketing mindset is what you think outside of yourself. So when you started your business, you started not as a marketer, not as a salesperson even. You started as a person that was passionate about something. You took that passion. Somebody might have said, man, you're really good at that. You should write a book. You should take pictures. You should do this. Or you were just passionate about it and you did it. But then after the aftermath of it was like, well, I want to be able to do this so much that I make the money that I need to be sustained in life. So When you think of marketing, what are 5 words that come to mind when you think of marketing? And you can type this in the chat, or you can open up your mic and give me 5 words that you think when you think of marketing. I'll give you 30 seconds to think of those things. Five things. You can put those in the chat, or you can raise your hand to go on and say those. All right, time's up. Time's up. Time's up. Time's up. Anybody, what are 5 things that come to mind when you hear the word marketing? So Stephanie says branding, visibility, sales, target audience, and advertising. Okay, okay, okay. I got you. I got you. Um, Bridget is driving, so she'll respond as she can. Tanya, plan. Okay. So when you think of marketing, you think of a plan. A plan. Paul, what you got for me? Website, advertising, social media. Okay. All right. I like those answers. We're going to dive into those uh, and see, what we have. So when I think of marketing, I think of the activities that must be done in order to get your audience to buy. The activities that have to be done to get to your audience to buy, whether that's promotion, whether that's branding, no matter what it is, the end goal of marketing is the efforts and the systems and the processes to get your audience to buy. Then we really have to consider, well, to get my audience to buy, do I have to be a salesperson? Do I have to, what do I have to do? And at this moment, think about what you have been doing to get them to buy. And if what you've been doing has been effective in getting you where you want to go. Next, from there, think about this. Am I actually doing marketing for my business? Am I actually doing marketing for my business? And if I'm not, why aren't I doing it? What am I afraid of? What's the holdup? What's the thing that I don't know? And honestly, we don't know what we don't know. So when you think of marketing, you have to think of the fact that my outcome is to get people to buy. But here is what marketing is not. Marketing is not being the food court person that wants to give you the sesame chicken. Like, hey, you want some sesame chicken? You want some sesame chicken? You want some sesame chicken? No, I don't want sesame chicken. I just ate. No, I don't want sesame chicken. I'm allergic to sesames seeds. I don't think you can be allergic to sesames, the sesame seeds. So are you being that person that's literally just standing out there saying, do you want this book? Do you want this service? Do you want this massage? Do you want this? Do you want to try this? Because at the end of the day, promoting is part of marketing. But what happens is without the proper balance, you end up just being the sesame seed person. You want this fried chicken? No, I don't want the fried chicken. And you get ignored because all they see you as a person that wants their money. Now, on the back end, we know we want their money. Well, not their money. We want to sell and get more money and it becomes our money. But we also want to help. So one of the big marks of marketing is finding that balance of the in person, because we all serve people. So what do they need that I deliver? How can I frame it in a way that lets them feel like, yes, I want it, while also realizing that you're not going to close 100% of the deals, but you need to have access to more people, and people need to connect with you on another level. Because if you just constantly say, hi, I'm here, hi, I'm here, hi, I'm here, that's not marketing. That's annoying. And that becomes a difference. So how can you market versus just being annoying? You have to have that mindset that first says, one, my product is good enough. Two, the people that need it, I understand them. And three, you have to realize that other people do what you do. Because other people do what you do, you have to choose to be different so that they see why they need to pick you. Because if you think of the service that you provide, even as a marketer, there are hundreds of thousands of marketers. But to be different, I have to step out a different way. For you to be different, you have to say, you have to go through the system, and you have to put your mind on the outside. And a lot of marketing as for entrepreneurs starts with you. What are my insecurities that's causing me not to be present to be able to provide service? Because when we push marketing, just push it, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, that's not marketing. So in your mind, I want you to think of like, what can I do differently that allows my audience to not just see me as somebody searching for the sale? So the marketing mindset takes us from being transactional to relational. No longer are people just going with the business, or in most cases, people aren't just going with the business for the transaction. Sometimes, especially for entrepreneurs, it's a matter of they booked you because you're relational. They feel like they can work with you. They feel like you're the person that they want to connect with. And that's where one of the differences starts. But if they don't know you, now it's like, how many of you have ever bought a bottle of water? You can just put your fist to the camera. If you've ever bought a bottle of water, when you go into the grocery store or the gas station or whatever to buy your water, there's just a bunch of bottles of water. They all technically do the same thing. They hydrate your body or get you water inside your body. They all do the same thing. But the difference in between them is they try to market the value to the customer. What is your value to the customer? So the marketing mindset is, again, realizing that it's not transactional, it's relational, and being able to say, how can I relate to them? All right, so that's step one. We got to get our minds right. So over the past 10 years, I have been doing sales, marketing, helping people across the world just like get their stuff together, refine their stuff. And oftentimes it comes like this: man, I'm struggling with this, or I'm struggling with this. And I learned through trial and error, through completing my masters, through having sales trainings and training people on sales. I learned that uh, I was doing a lot of different things for different people, but I was really doing one system of things. And then I didn't systemize it, because the way my mind works is like, you come to me with a problem, I give you a solution. Like when I was a kid, one of my oddly favorite things to do was to untie knots. I would have, like, if a shoe had a knot and be somebody like, oh, I got a knot in my shoe. I'm like, I can take it out. I can take it out, because I enjoyed problem solving. And then even for untying knots, I have a system in my head of how I untie knots. So as we go through the 5-step marketing mastery system, this is a system of how to untie your knots. Each of these 5 points, we're not going to dive extremely deep into, but I want to give you the tip of the iceberg so that you can start pushing through to those next steps. And then what I'm teaching you actually, cost me a master's degree where I learned a lot of stuff, but then have to get out and do it. And I had to learn through working with people. And for years, I had my own fear of saying, well, what if it doesn't work? And the fact of the matter is, when you systemize it, it won't always work because nothing's perfect. But if you systemize it the right way, the majority of it will work. All right. So we are ready to get into these 5 steps. I'm going to lock these. Actually, I got to do this first. And I'm going to do this one quick. The reason you need to refine your brand is because what's happening now isn't working. We need to refine the brand, and we also need to understand what brand is. So let's understand what brand is so that we can make sure that we know how to refine our brand. But before I say this, in the comments, or even if you want to turn on your mic and give a response, when you think of brand, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Don't think about it long. When you think of brand, what is the first thing that comes to mind? You can open up your mics and say it, or say it in the chat. The first thing. Don't study long. Don't think long. What's the first thing you think of when you think of brand?
Logo.
Stephanie said reputation. What does Paris have? I think she's typing. Type. My presence. Okay. All right. So we're going to understand brand so that we can move forward and understand how we can refine our brand. I like those. And then Tanya says established. Okay. So we're going to draw a line in the sand. Here's our little line. That's our little line right there. It's in some sand. So on one side of brand, we have the visible image. We have the visible image, which is considered design. All those elements, they make people look your way. There's a saying that people used to use a lot, that sex sells. So stuff had to be pretty. Stuff had to be appealing to get people's attention. Now, though that's true, there's a second part of brand, the invisible image, the things that people don't tangibly see, but they feel, they experience. And the biggest part of branding for entrepreneurs is the experience, not the design. Because the design matters, but again, from the marketing mindset, it's relational versus transactional. All right. So on the design side, we see logo, we see images, we see color schemes, we see product shoots, packaging, website design, social media aesthetics, the slogan, the brand name. All of those things matter because it sets a tone for what people see. But there's a part where people need the experience, and that's the system that we're going to talk about. And these are some great pictures. Like literally, the pictures make you want to eat, but certain people are not going to eat McDonald's based on their lifestyle, based on what they can have and can't eat. Some people can't eat fried food. Some people shouldn't have breads. So even though the picture is nice, it doesn't mean anything for the wrong audience. The logo, when you think of the McDonald's logo, when you see the McDonald's logo, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And you can open your mics and share it if you want to. When you see the McDonald's logo, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
St. Louis.
Okay, St. Louis. Okay. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the McDonald's logo?
Fresh French fries.
Fresh French fries. Tanya says fries as well. Now, I am about to trip you out real quick. And it's based on your responses. Your first thought of them, Tanya says Ronald McDonald. Your first thought of them is their brand identity for you. Because brand is not what we think of ourselves, it's what people think of us. So if you think fries, that's the brand. Like, and from that standpoint, McDonald's may not have a strong brand in your eyes versus somebody else may see McDonald's as we love to see you smile, a place where they want us to be happy. Other people just see it as their brand is fast food. Another person may see it as their brand is they have a really large menu, and I like and their brand for some people may be the ice cream machine is always down. Now, this is the thing. Of the things that I said, most of those things didn't come from McDonald's, except for we love to see you smile. But the way they market it and what they do cause these different opinions and feelings about the brand. They didn't want to become the brand that people put memes about saying, oh, their ice cream machine is always down. So here's the thing about the brand. No matter what you do, your brand is a reflection of people's belief. So your goal should be to create a brand that inspires the belief that you desire and hope that that's what people get. Does that make sense? So when it's all said and done, the logo now means, even though people think of that as brand, the logo now means what you want it to mean, not what they meant it to mean. So you could have, so even Paul, on the scene photography, your that logo, when I see it, to me it means, hey, that's Paul. And then because I've worked with you, it means more to me. But when I see it, I'm like, oh, that's Paul. But what do you want people to believe about your brand? All right, so we're about to get into these five parts. This is the greatest part of it. I know that some of the other stuff was good, but this is the greatest part of it. So here are the 5 pillars of the 5-step marketing mastery system. The first one is clarity. The first part is clarity, and you'll want to write these down. The next one is community. So we have clarity, then we have community. The third piece is communicate. And I have Staley's name there because I was going to say something about her. That shouldn't be there. But anyway, we have communicate or communication. We have capture. And this is actually, I want you to, on the capture, I want you to do capture and captivate. Capture and captivate, or captivate and capture. It's better captivate and capture. So that's going to be the fourth one. The fifth one is close. The fifth one is close. So we have clarity, community, communicate or communication, captivate and capture, close. That's the whole thing. That's the entire system from the mindset piece. And then we put action to the use. So we're gonna break it down, and I'm gonna click through this just in case y'all are still writing. So clarity, community, communication, capture, and close. All right. So 3 things that you need to get clear on as an entrepreneur. The very first thing that you have to get clear on is who you are. Because like I said, when I mentioned Paul, when I think of on the scene photo and video, I think of Paul. So what I think of Paul determines what I think of his company as an entrepreneur. So the very first thing you have to get clear on is who you are. The next thing you have to get clear on is who your perfect audience is. Who are the people that you serve best, that you can give the best value to, that need your service or want your service, or can be or that your service is a solution for? Who are they? What do they look like? What do they talk about? What is their favorite TV show? What kind of music do they listen to? And you can literally, in understanding who they are, you can what's the word I'm looking for? what is it called when the police like they pull you over because you're black? You profile them. You have to profile your audience, because if you profile them now and get clear on them, some of it's assumption, some of it's fact, some of it's through research and having surveys and asking people the questions so that you can get clear on who they are. Now, the last thing, and this happens in this order. The first thing is clarifying who you are as an individual, because that ends up being reflected in your marketing. The next thing is clarify who they are. Who are the people that you serve? Why do they need that service? How do they want that service delivered? Then the very last thing is get clear on what your business does. And when I say get clear on what your business does, even for Paris, your business doesn't do massage. For Paul, your business doesn't do photography. For Jacoby, your business doesn't do taxes or all the other businesses you own. Your business doesn't do this one item. You have to get clear on what your business does for people. That's marketing. How does it make them feel? How does it make them react? Because no one cares about what you do. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. They care about what you do for them to get them the outcomes that they want. So when you get clarity on it, you get clarity on their outcomes and how your business provides those outcomes to them, because they don't care about, because again, you are either the water bottle or you're the person at the food court just saying you want this chicken. Paul says because there are others that do the same thing. Yes, it, there are other people that do marketing. So if I don't communicate how I am a benefit to them, if I don't understand their outcomes, there's no reason to come to me. So to separate yourself in the world of a bunch of people doing the same thing, you have to understand you as an individual. You have to get clarity on who they are. And then you also have to get clarity on how you deliver on what they desire. Do y'all want an example of this? Would an example help? So, because my boy Jacoby just came in, I'll talk about tax, and it's tax season. Millions of people do taxes. Millions of people have to get their taxes done. Many of them will sometimes go to 2 or 3 major providers: TurboTax, H&R Block, or whatever the other one may be. And the reason that they do that is because they're going based on the outcome that these people say that they deliver. They're going to the online thing is because they're like, oh, well, I can do it online for cheaper, or I can do it through this software and they're going to walk me through. I don't have to deal with the person. I don't have to do this, because the introvert may really love just doing it online because I don't want nobody else knowing my business. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of blockages for why people don't do it. So now your tax service or your photography service or your book service or whatever it may be is not what you thought it was. What you provide is an outcome that makes people happy, that saves them time, or gets them results. That makes them happy, saves them time, or gets them results. Those are the 3 things that your service do, and you have to get clarity on how it does that for the audience. All right. So for the tax service, I'm not providing taxes. I'm providing peace of mind through I'm providing peace of mind through effective tax filing. Because when people file, you don't want to be audited, you want it to be whatever that. So it's like, hey, I'm providing this in an environment where you have somebody that to hold accountable for making sure that you get the best results. Because they can file taxes anywhere. All right. The next step is community. And you a community for what you do already exists. There's a community that needs your service, and you have to become part of the community first. Earlier, we were talking about McDonald's and their brand, but the highlight of their brand, people don't think about the fact that they have helped fund gardens and areas. They do a gospel tour. They do all of this type of stuff because when we think of them, we're not thinking about the community that they serve. We're thinking about what we think of them because, again, your brand isn't what you think of you, it's what other people say you are. So when it comes to community, this next step of the system says, I know who my person is. Now I need to understand how to communicate in their language, or not communicate. I need to know how to connect to the community that they are a part of. And that can look like, um, again, we're dealing with people. So that community is uh, an extension of the target audience. So that community could be that they like they like fun and funny. So because they like fun and funny, is your brand the fun and funny? Or this person is a serious type of thing because I'm dealing with business to business. So how can my brand reflect that I'm the right person for them through that building that community? And you build the community one brick at a time, one home at a time. And then have you ever noticed that in most neighborhoods, at least it used to be, all of the people look the same. In certain community, you may have predominantly Hispanics and white, black, or whatever, and then occasionally you will see the blend of them. So your community that you serve may have a blend of people, but at the same time, it's easier to communicate to one community than trying to feel like your product is for every community. And what that looks like is, um, if you are selling a product to women, that those women have a community, and then in the inside of that community, that community may like to do brunch. So you start to deal with brunch. That community may be a community that, like for massage, it may be a community of athletes because they need massage because they're using their muscles so much. How can you communicate to the community? So that the community also connects to the communication. Earlier we talked about not communicating like the person in the food court where it's just, hey, I got this fried chicken, I got this, hey, do you want this? Versus having a quality communication. A quality communication is a relationship. Earlier we mentioned that marketing is no longer transactional, it's relational. So because it's relational, you have to communicate to your audience like it's a relationship that is either beginning or exists. So how can I communicate how can I communicate to this audience without making them feel like it's just about the transaction? So here we go. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into communication. Imagine, again, we're talking about the relationship. Imagine going on a date, and the entire motive the whole time for the man is to get the woman in bed. That's the payment to get the woman in bed. So imagine when you imagine picking the woman up for the date and being like, oh yeah, so um do you have what size is your bed? It's like, wait, huh? You already at the end of this, and I ain't even walked out my house fully. Then you're in the car, you're driving to the location, and the conversation is still about, oh, um it's flattery, and it's stuff that's still is trying to get to the end goal. Dinner, instead of talking about the family and the friends and whatever, you're talking about this end result. Then you go home for the drop off, and then you force yourself into the home because the whole motive the whole time was to get to the bed versus getting a connection through the communication. So what happens is you will see your engagement on social media go down, when it's all about the money or the end game. So imagine when you post, when you do advertising, when you do all of this type of stuff, it's constantly about what I want from you versus what I give to you. So when you communicate, you have to start communicating based on this clarity of who they are, who you are, and who they are. Then you are talking to the community. So your communication is no longer I'm always there's a saying that says always be closing. It's ABC, always be closing. Though you're always closing, you're not always selling. The whole process is closing. It's nurturing your audience through communication, through understanding them. It's working on building your brand community, but your brand community can't just be about the end service that you want versus the outcome that they want. Hopefully this is making sense. If this is making sense and y'all are there, give me a thumbs up in the chat. So we have the clarity, the community, the communication. What do they need to hear from you? Because they don't care about your product. They care about what the product does for them. But then if you are not careful, you lean so far to what the product does for them where you are not where you're skipping the piece of identity, you're skipping the piece of character, you're skipping the piece of I'm looking for one word and it's skipping me. Uh, but they don't get a sense of who you are. There has to be absolute balance in actually intentionally selling, because the thing is, if you are selling the same way as everybody else, saying, hey, we got a discount on massages this week, hey, we got to buy one photo shoot, get 2.5 photo shoots free, like nobody cares. They don't care. They care about the benefit to them, and these are some of the things that you should communicate. What's the benefit to them? Personality, that's what I was looking for earlier. You have to be able to display personality, authentic personality, because people are being sold by everybody. Everybody's always closing online. So if you can close subliminally by being the brand that they're like, oh man, their content is just so great. Can people binge watch your content, or when they come to your page, are they just seeing sales? Like if you look at um, Apple's page and some of the other pages, maybe even McDonald's, I don't know. You don't see them using their social media platforms to simply sell. Oftentimes they're sharing the experience, because that sharing that experience helps communicate what their brand identity is. So you have to have that balance that says, I'm going to intentionally sell, I'm going to be personable, because as service providers or even product providers, you are the experience. Paul says you don't even have to be the best, but your personality will win them over. Yeah, like people give you a lot of grace when they relate to you. So even if all of your back end processes aren't in order, if all of your back end processes are not perfect, because they believe in you, they'll look over some things, as well as they'll be able to be transparent with you, that says, oh, when I received your email, this link was wrong, or when I did this didn't work, because that freedom to experience you as a personality helps them to be free to share. All right. So step 5, captivate and capture. So the communication has to be captivating. When you look at like sometimes we will binge watch TikTok, Facebook, all these reels and stuff, because it's captivating. Think about this. And I'm gonna give y'all 30, I'm gonna give you 1 minute to think of the response to this next question. And this one is tough. So that's why I'm giving you 1 minute. What is captivating about you or your brand? currently? What is captivating about you and your brand? Here's an example why you think your content could be captivating. Your your communication can be captivating. What is captivating currently about your brand? Because as part of this system, the next the next step requires you to be captivating at this step. Like these steps really do go in order. And when I think of captivating, it's captivating without selling yourself. And when I say selling yourself, not selling your soul for the sake of captivating. What is actually captivating about you? What is that quality that people love? All right. Uh, Paul says how I build a story in my videos for people that watch that wasn't there as if they were wasn't there as if they were. Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. I got you. Anybody else? What is captivating about you, your brand? And the reason we're kind of pausing at this spot is because captivating people is a huge part of the game, and that's what makes you different. Um, and if you can't captivate people, you're gonna have a tough time. Tanya says, gift ability to talk boldly, unapologetically, and authentically as if I've known them and their stuff their whole life. All right. So with that, how do you do it in the way that pulls them in? How do you do it in a way that pulls them in? How do you do it in a way that pulls them in? All right. So with the capture, so you captivate them so that way you can either capture them via a follow, a like, having them added to your email list or whatever. Because this capture part allows you to control your distribution. Everybody say to yourself, control your distribution. Control your distribution. Can somebody tell me what you think I mean by that? What does control your distribution mean? What do you think control your distribution mean? Control your distribution. Hopefully, y'all drink some water this morning as well. Bodies started. What does it mean to control your distribution? And I'm gonna help you while y'all prepare for this. Um, how is your content currently distributed? How is your content currently distributed? So for the first question, Paul says, not depending on anyone but you. Okay. I, I want you to push that out a little bit more because that's a good direction. Stephanie says to manage how you engage with your target audience. Okay, what does manage how mean? Control your distribution. What does manage how means? And then to that second question, because I want y'all to pull this out. How is your content currently distributed? How is your content currently distributed? I like that. No one can pull the plug but you. Now, Paul, how do you do that? Stephanie says via social media and mainly. So I'm going to break this down. All of y'all are extremely close. So currently, your most of your content is distributed via social media. Have y'all experienced a day where social media went down? Uh, Currently, via sharing my lifestyle throughout the day. So, do you offer something that people will freely give their email address for to be able to stay connected with you, get more information, and that lifestyle? Will people subscribe to that lifestyle? Will people subscribe to your content? Because to control your distribution, you have to capture contact information. So if you don't have information, because like it's much easier to send an email or a text message because you have people information where you can send something inspiring, where you can send a weekly hack of how to do a thing. You can provide more than just the chicken in the food court, because too many of our brands are one dimensional. So captivate and capture means they like what I do. I'm going to give them more about me, get access to something exclusive through signing up on my email list, through that capture part. Because once you capture them, from there you will have the ability to stay in communication with them, build the relationship, nurture the relationship, and close the deal. Because people get a lot of emails from a lot of different companies, but they get less emails than posts. People see way more posts today than emails. Even though your email inbox is full, most of us only get emails from maybe 30, 40 providers. And that's super high, right? Would y'all agree with that? That you see the same 30 or 40, but on your news feed, if you are following 1,000 people, or if they're following the 2,000, 3,000 people, they're seeing way more of everybody else because social media controls the distribution. Now, I'm not saying not to post on social media. You need that as part of your captivate part. And then you need to capture so that you can control the communication to them. Then you can close. And the close is happening all the time because now they're relating to you. Now they're connecting to you. Now they understand that you are the right one for them. They understand that the direction that they want to go, they can only get there with you because they believe in you and you understand them. They feel like they've been in a relationship with you all the time. So now when you get on one knee and say, "Will you marry me?" They're like, "Shoot, yeah." We in there like swimwear because of the process and being intentional with each step of the process. Now, another way to capture is by captivating advertising. So, um, companies spend billions of dollars just on branding via advertising. So you have to be able to create advertising and distribution that way via Instagram, whether it's Instagram, Google, all of those types of things, because people are searching for the solution that you provide. But because you're not a part of that community yet, they're not getting the solution from you. All right. So the process: clarity, community, communicate to that community, captivate and capture, and then close. So, for the most part, this process doesn't happen in a day because some of you probably haven't built enough content in any of these areas for people to be like, I want to be around that person. I want to log in to see what they're going to say. I want to receive their email, because when I have the money for their service, I want to go with them. Because literally there are people on social media that I follow, and when I need a certain thing on a different topic, I try to find them. Sometimes I don't remember their names though, but they don't have email distribution. So like online or social media distributes it how it wants to distribute it based on engagement. So if I'm like, literally, there was a time where I'm like, man, I need to throw together an outfit for something. I need to follow my favorite person for outfits, but I couldn't think of his name. I could, if he was in a lineup, I would be able to tell you who he was, but I couldn't remember his name, because even though he's building the community, he's not communicating in a way that helps people remember his name, because that's his brand. They remember what he does, but I couldn't remember his name for nothing. So I had to go back into my follow list to see, okay, I've probably been following him for 2 months. So clarity, community, communication, captivate and capture, and then close. That's the five. It's kind of six, but it's really five step process. And literally all of this is putting your for the clarity, putting it in writing. Who am I? Who are they? What do they want from me or from my business? The community is like, are they a Christian community? Are they a non-Christian community? Um are they do they explore this, or do they explore this? Like, what community are they a part of? Like for engagement shoots, that community is was at one point a part of the dating community. Now they're part of the gauge, and then actually through advertising, you can target all of these different audiences. But you have to know, so that when you create your captivating and capture, you are speaking directly to them, and they feel like they've known you all their life and you've known them all their life, because you're talking to them. Because sometimes we market to invisibility versus saying there are people that we were talking to. What do they want? Because honestly, most of y'all have seen people post up online, and you're like, if you ignore it. Like if somebody's like, I got these cheeseburgers, you're like, I don't want no cheeseburger, I'm vegan. So you keep moving, because they're not talking to you. So to refine your brand, you go through these steps, because that way you're talking to the right audience, and you can close them because you understand what they want, what they desire. All right, so that's the 5 step system. Before I go to all of this, um I'm going to open up for some Q&A right now. Feel free to ask your questions about any part of the process, and this is your time to get literally free advice. As this at this part, is the technically the free advice, the asking the questions versus the giving the direction. So if you wrote some questions as you were going, this is your time to get a free consultation based on your specific needs for your specific business.
Um, this is Tim. Can you hear me?
I can.
Hey, Antoine. Good morning, everybody.
Good
This is
morning.
Um, I guess I just have a question. I guess, what advice would you have for me? I mean, I think we've kind of talked about some things and trying to learn to put my ass at the end of it and pull it all together. So I've been working on that.
Okay.
I mean, I have a newsletter, because I know they said you need something else if social media goes down. So I have news, whatever they call it nowadays, but I don't rarely use it because I didn't really get any traction from it when I was sending emails out. So should I revamp it and pull it back out and start back using it? Kind of,
So I
yeah.
am going, so there's in these 5 steps are is a hidden 5 steps. Uh and it's also a C. It's consistency. So with whatever your product or service is, You want to make sure that first you know who the audience is, and make sure that they know that they're the audience. Because Tanya, who would you say your audience is? And who is your audience and what do you sell them?
Um, my audience, I guess if I would have to say it as one person, it would probably be a woman that's 35 that's trying to figure out what her purpose is and to define that for herself and figure out how she can become the leader that she knows she's trying to be.
Okay. So what is her current problem? What is her current situation? What is it that's why doesn't she know what her purpose is?
Life. Kind of been doing life for everybody else, putting others first, just going through the motions and not realizing who she is and what, not just her works, but just like what she even has or is able to offer is actually a gift. You know, a lot of times I work with people, they downplay what's in them because other people have told them it wasn't nothing. And it, oh, you can't ever be anything or do anything with that, So just kind of getting them to know it's not a purpose isn't you trying to define yourself as a title, but you trying to pull out what's in you. And when you pull that out, you'll begin to shape the things that you're able to do because you're gifted in those areas.
Okay. So if you could say who you help and how you help them in one sentence, what would you say? And I'll give you some time to work on that. I'll go to somebody else, but if you could in one sentence say who you help and how you help them, we'll come back. I'm gonna let you think
I
through
mean, I
that.
already have it. That's
Okay.
just
All right.
the
What?
little tagline that I say. I help people and organizations figure out how to do life and leadership unapologetically on purpose.
But that's different than what you just told us you did. You just said you help women with their purpose, but your statement is totally different.
I mean, people. So you want me to specifically say women?
Is that who you help?
Not just women, no.
So you're helping men and women and organizations.
A lot. Yeah, because that's where the leadership aspect of a lot of times come from. And where I work with them on, how to embrace their people as not just employees, but individual leaders, individual contributors.
So just standing on the outside, when you say that many different people, what
Mm-hmm.
ends up happening is you're not niche to getting results for a specific person. Because what
Okay.
happens is now they're like, okay, well, she's helping businesses, employees, but is she helping women find their purpose? Or these women mothers and they're lost their purpose because they're dealing with children? Well, for the business, like even in that simple statement, there's so many audiences that you won't get traction because you're speaking to different audiences. So even in the email list, it's like, well, the women are being alienated if you're talking about how you help the businesses in this email. And they're like, I'm not a business. So now they're getting emails, even from a newsletter, that doesn't matter to them. So they disregard it, and the open rate goes down because they're like, okay, she's probably talking about men today, but that won't help me because I'm women. So what happens is the clarity that we talked about at first, you have some clarity, but you're helping too many people, and it's too much to segment. So now when people come on your email list, you have to say, hey, are you a woman or you're a man or your business or are you an employee? So I can get you on the right email list. And now you have 4 newsletters targeted to different people because the goal is to make sure that you help the people that you need to help. Even with McDonald's helps multiple people, but they've been doing it for an extremely long time. Apple has a specific audience. Your audience is not specific enough because it's so broad. You're trying to hit too many people versus saying, man, I help women that are overloaded with life find purpose and live again. Now, if that's what you did, they'd be like, oh, I am overloaded. I'm overloaded with the job, with the children, with this, with this, with this. And now you can target them to where your communication is, hey, directions for them, and more of them will do it because now, like I said, with the person that does attire, like I know what he does. For you, if your content is for women one day, for men the next day, for all people the next day, it's like you have to niche down and be consistent with that niche. Yes, you may want to help the other people, and it's fine to help the other people, but get results for one type of person first and get that on autopilot to where people are signing up to spend time with you on that one particular thing. And then if you want to go to men, go to men. And then if you want to go to business, go to businesses. But if women are like, because when we asked, the first thing you said was women. So I think that's like you, and you possibly are passionate about multiple areas, but you got to lock in one first. So for me, I help entrepreneurs, specifically product and service providers, refine their brand and close their target market or target audience. So that way I can help them say, this is who I serve. All right, this is who you serve. I can help you serve them better because I can help you communicate to them. I can help you get the advertising that you need to really hit that audience. But when we're talking to too many people, you end up overloading yourself. And then because now you're overloaded, you can't help the women be overloaded. Is unoverloaded? I don't think unoverloaded is a word. Anti-loaded? I don't know. But let's start there, refining your audience, clarifying who your audience is. So you're even though you've done quite a few stuff, we're at step one with clarifying that audience. Because
Okay.
once you clarify them, you will kill the game because they know you're talking to them. If men
Okay.
need help, they need to go to the men's page. If the businesses need help, they need, unless you want to say, hey, I specifically work with businesses, and then, hey, when men and women, y'all stand to the side, but let me get these businesses feeling a certain way.
Well, part of I'll just tell you this. The reason why I added that piece is because I was trying to work with like the Women's Business Council, and I was WBE certified. And so to get that type of work, I had to, offer something. And so it was me offering leadership development, strategy sessions, things like that.
So
So that was why.
in that case, you can say, I help the overloaded business women do A, B, and C. Because that's still an audience, that's still a community that you can communicate to, that you can be consistent with. So if that's the audience, that still can be the audience, but pick one for now.
All right.
And then once you're killing it with that one, then branch out and do more. Because for a long time, McDonald's sold burgers and shakes. Now they barely sell shakes because the shake machine be down. But now they sell smoothies, they sell McCafe, they sell salads, they got a vegan burger, but it took them time to get there because they needed to get a core audience first. And you can't serve billions when they don't know who you are and who you serve. All right.
All right.
Great question though. Who's next?
All right. Since you're giving a few free consultations, hey, mine should be easy. My thing is, you know me, you've worked with me before, we've worked together, we're friends on Facebook. So you see what I do, you see how I project. What can you give me? What do you think about me when you see me or hear me honestly? And because I'm a big boy, I can handle it. If when you see me post or when you see me do things or when you see me, what do you think about me or what do you think I need to clean up on or whatever?
So here's the honest truth. I don't be seeing people's posts on social media. And the reason I don't see people's posts on social media is because I have too many friends, and it's like it gets overwhelming to see so many things. So I would normally see posts on Instagram because for some reason it just flows easier. But from you, I think your brand is that relatable brand with the person in mind, because no matter like people, because I've worked with you, people don't know, like even when you did my mom's birthday event, like I sat there and I'm like, this dude is gonna make everybody feel welcome. Like it's not even his event, but he as a photographer is making guests feel welcome. Oh, hey, let me help you. So I think balancing out that character of like, hey, I'm a helpful person. Like most photographers come into situations and they stay in their lane. For you on that one part of on the personal aspect, you are that person that is like, it's just good to be around you. There's always a smile, there's always a positive vibe. You could like, I think we had one shoot where you were either just getting in town. It was like you were coming from somewhere and it was like really hectic, but you came in and were able to like be settled, reserved, and ready to work, even though I think it was some concert that we shot or something. So I think you have to find your content area for your audience. And now this is the thing: your brand is on the scene, so that means you're serving anybody that needs photography and videography. Now the thing is that's fine, but can you pick two or three servers that are top of mind, and then everything else if they need that. Hey, if you have other inquiries, you can inquire here. But if you can find whether it's weddings and events, or hey, I'm an event photographer and videographer, here's some events that I've shot. Because when now sometimes the fear of people is, well, if I do that, then if people need headshots, they're not going to come to me because they think I'm a videographer that just does this. So, but it's okay to niche, because now anytime somebody needs a photographer, they're still going to shoot you, but you can start sharing content about how you make events. Because your statement earlier was about, I think it was something about events. Uh, like how you share the videos to where it makes them feel like they're there and they're not. So with on the scene, imagine being the brand where people want on the scene, because you can make even the smallest of events feel great. So why do they want you on the scene? And when you show up on the scene, what is um your brand promise? Because the name is cool, but is the content that's being shared a reflection of the value of having on the scene? Because that's the difference. So whether you're seen as a concert, a church service, a birthday party, you want us on the scene because of this. So with that content, does that kind of help? Kind of
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense because, and then when, as we were going with this conference, um, I was thinking, I do a lot of stuff. I'm a photographer, I'm a videographer. I like to shoot events, but I don't like to do uh what is it, studio, portraits and stuff.
okay.
I can do it, I've done it good, but that's just not my thing. I need to narrow some stuff down. I don't like it. It makes me nervous to do some things, honestly, where other things it just comes natural, and I need to focus on the stuff that comes natural.
Yeah.
Not that I can't do other things and have not done the other things well. I just need to, like you said, like you were telling Tanya, kind of narrow down the focus.
Yeah.
And I get
Because
that.
if you do that, you like, because with the world opening up, events are eventing,
Yeah.
and being able to be there is, and then letting people understand, crafting out in your mind, what value do I add to the event? So yes, I'm the photographer, but why do people need photographers? Hold on. Okay. Um, so why do people, hold on just another second. Okay, somebody was getting nice. I'm sorry, y'all. So why do people need you on an event? Because you have to remember that you sell more than pictures and video. You sell peace of mind at the event, knowing that, hey, you're going to get the shots and the videos that you want. And then you can paint the picture of the difference. Imagine having a once in a lifetime event, and the picture that you desired most wasn't there.
Yeah. That's the stress behind my job.
Yeah. But the way you make that stress easier, here's another big one for you, is onboarding process, where when people, no matter what event it is, you ask them a series of questions onboarding that says, what type of event is it? The layout. Is there a planner for the event that I can be with, like just like you would do a wedding? Hey, what particular shots are you wanting? What matters most? Are you looking for video or photography? Have that onboarding process, because when you have that conversation, you can also charge more because they're getting the outcome. So instead of charging 1,000, you can charge 2,000 for the same thing, because they can expect the outcome and they know that you've charted out, you've been really intentional. One of the companies I worked with was a DJ company that I converted into an entertainment company. And now from doing that, they were at one point making like $2,000 to do proms and Sadie Hawkins dances and all that type of stuff. So they went from there to charging 10 to 12,000 because they became an event planning service that offered DJ. So they were able to come into the schools, help them fundraise better. They understood the need of their people, because the schools do these dances to raise money. But if people aren't showing up, you're not raising enough money. And then the teachers have been managing the events. The problem with that is the teachers are managing it and they're already stressed, so they're not putting enough into it to actually make the money that they need from it. So now this company comes in and says, all right, we're going to also, as part of our service, we're going to help your team planning. We're going to also do a pre-show for your thing, so that they know the type of energy we're bringing. We're going to have a demo station. We're going to be at the at each cafeteria duty, DJing at the cafeteria duty, so that you can help get sales while they're on lunch duty or while they're at lunch. So we planned out how your event was going to be. Now it's like, okay, I charge more because you're going to get outcomes.
Yeah.
So there we go. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome. Who's next? Come on, Stephanie.
All right. So where do I start? I want to talk about niching, right? Because you were talking about that earlier. I'm at a point now. So I'm a virtual assistant. For those who don't know me, I provide administrative services to entrepreneurs and small businesses. But I think I'm too broad. I know in the VA world, there's different types of virtual assistants. You could be a virtual assistant just for real estate. You could be a virtual assistant just for photography. But because right now I'm at a point where I came into forming my business with a few different type of clients, I don't know at what point should I just say, okay, I'm only going to work with this specific type of business, so I can really drill down what they need from me.
So put that as a question.
Okay. How do I decide how to narrow down my audience, who I want to service,
okay,
and what I'm really going to offer them? Because it's really broad right now.
Okay. So because it's broad right now and you're just starting the journey, the best case scenario is to niche down after you see which one you like actually doing. Because if you're like, okay, so let's say you have 10 different clients. You have the solopreneur, you have the people in different niches, and then you're like, man, I like the process of this, I like the energy of this. I know, like, maybe you're a virtual assistant for restaurants, where you help do a certain thing for restaurants. So now every restaurant needs the same thing, and because you build something systematic, you can say, all right, I help restaurants by doing A, B, C, D, and E. So I would say take the next 6 months offering services to multiple niches and not, yeah, so multiple niches until you say, I don't like this one. I don't like the energy of this. I don't like the task of this. And then from there, you can then say, hey, I'm Stephanie Wyatt, and I provide virtual assistant services for personal trainers, which may be actually pretty dope because they be all over the place. They don't know what the heck is going on in their lives. But yeah, so because everybody needs a virtual assistant, but this isn't a matter of what everybody needs. It's a balance of, you know, that there's a community for it. Which community do you want to serve, and how can you speak the lingo? Last part of the example is, if you're doing personal trainers, you can then start talking about the reason personal trainers needed, or how virtual assisting helps uh trainers organize. Oh geez, because trainers need to know what each of their what's happening with each of their clients, intake forms. They need to make sure that they can track the success of their clients, so they need somebody to be able to like know whatever. So imagine that, but for whatever niche you want to do, but spend some time exploring. And then once you find that one that you're like, yo, I want to be a virtual assistant for churches that are struggling, that struggling pastors, or whatever it is. But once you get to that point, then you can start to really lock in what you want to do. But until that point, what you do is just kill it on, hey, I help small businesses get organized and structured through virtual assisting, or something close to that. And then pull them jokers in, explain what virtual assistants do, why it's important, how not having a virtual assistant is handicapping your business, like you in recording videos, explaining top three reasons why you need a virtual assistant, all those different elements. All right, there. Who's next?
Thanks.
You're welcome. I am definitely talking through a red mic. Tanya says, "What if I niche down to say I am a millennial marketplace coach, author, speaker, strategist, and when I post, write, I'm talking to them." So you're talking to the coach, the author, the speaker, and the strategist, or are you? Wait,
I'm
oh,
talking to the millennial marketplace person that may need a coach, that may be looking for books, because those are the things that I do. So I'm saying, if my niche is to millennial marketplace, millennials that are in the marketplace meaning businesses, they own businesses, or they side
okay.
hustle or something like that.
Um, I like where it's going.
Basically,
Uh,
not niching down to a gender, but niching down to uh, generation
okay.
and age group.
So, uh, with the author, speaker, and strategist, so coach, author, speaker, strategist, um, those are all different offerings, right? A coach,
Yes,
what you offer as a coach is different than what you offer as an author. Are you
yes.
are you being an author for millennials? And then also with the author part, um, once you have your audience,
Mhm,
they will buy a book, or call you for strategies. But first,
mhm,
you just have to. I wouldn't list author, speaker, and strategist as the main thing. I would first do what what do I give them that I can monetize consistently. So
mhm,
with the speaker, like if you're coaching, and then sharing some of your coaching tips and whatever, by sharing your coaching tips and stuff, people are going to already assume that you're a speaker because of the way you present. They're already going to assume that you're a strategist by the way you share strategy through coaching. And then the back end offer is also a book or an ebook or whatever that helps them. And how does what you author get them results? So
Mhm.
for me, I have so many books. Actually, it's not so many. I know people with way many more books, but I have books, and I buy these books because they help me solve a certain problem that I'm unsure of, or they give me a different perspective of something that I need guidance on. And I may only read one chapter of them, where another book I'll read the whole thing because it's important for me to get one or two things that I can use. So I would start by saying just coach for the millennial marketplace. But even with coach, what is the outcome that they should expect by being under your coaching? What is their outcome, and what outcome do they desire?
Gotcha. I think that's what I kind of realized and started going in that vein, maybe not even a couple of months ago. So I just wanted to see if where I was going was making sense.
Yeah, I think it can make clearer sense once you get that clarity on who you are, who they are, and what they want, and how can you deliver on what they want. Because oftentimes what we want is heavier than what we need. So people are willing to. So like when I say I help entrepreneurs refine their brand, people want to refine their brand so that they can attract more people and get more sales. But what they need is to get clarity. They need to understand how to communicate. They need to understand how to captivate and capture. They need to do all of that because that gets them what they want. But they need to do the work on the other end to get what they want on the back end. So you have to figure out, as a coach, how do you serve that audience? And after working with you, what is their outcome? So lock those things in, and then you'll be ready to keep moving forward. All right. All right. Anybody else before I move on? Any questions? Any questions?
Hey, I real quick, I heard you say something about Instagram. I'm good on everything, but I'm good with Facebook, YouTube, and stuff like that. But Instagram, I just can't get into. That's something I probably need to get into, huh?
Yeah. Um, for a couple of reasons. Uh, each of these platforms caters to a different audience. Uh, Instagram for a long period of time was predominantly a picture based um, app, and now they're becoming more video based because they know the video is happening. So as a photographer, you want to be on the picture app. As a videographer, you want to be on a video app. But then from the Facebook standpoint, you have a personal audience there. Facebook also is where some of the advertising portion comes from. So it's okay to be on both of those. But if you're doing what you need to do effectively, it don't matter the platform. The difference in the platform is just getting expanding the audience. So if the audience on Facebook is kicking it for you, some people don't move to other platforms because it's like there's no purpose, as well as it's too much effort. Because you have to learn a new platform. So the platforms matter, but the consistency is what happens most. What can you do every day to help people understand the importance of videography, importance of storytelling, maybe content that shows how you can tell a story through your event. Here are three ways to tell a story through your event. Making sure that you have a planner, a photographer that understands your vision for the, like, finding content on Facebook that helps people to just get better in general, because your audience can be photographers or people that need services, but really narrowing down, it may be even on being on the scene. It's linking up on the back end with event venues throughout the city, that becoming a vendor for them, to where, because some people don't think about photography and video until the last moment. And then also, teaching people what to expect from that, because yes, people like pictures, people like video, but a part of your brand is, why should you have me on the scene? Why should you have a photographer on the scene, period? um what does good video for an event look like? What are some things to consider as you're planning your next event? uh Here are 3 things that I learned about events. So your content can be about being on the scene. What have you learned from being on the scene? What are some things that you like, whether you choose me or not? I'm going to give you advice on the industry. So that's another level of content as well. So we are over our time. I totally muted myself mid-sentence. We're out of our time, but if anybody has one last question, I'll answer that. Now, the other part of this is, I do coach, and I have a program that allows us to go through this process to help you actually implement what it takes to get to that next level. And what I do is I actually host a free breakthrough session where we actually understand where you're at, where you're trying to go. It's a free call where we see if we're a good match for each other, and see if, me and my team are not able to, but if we're a good fit to help you in your business. So you can actually schedule a free call where we look through that. Now, to work with me and get through this definitely isn't something that's just free or cheap, but the cost of trying to figure it out yourself far outweighs the cost of being with me and having me coach you through the process, so that you get that clarity, so that you learn how to communicate, so that you start to understand your community and really building from there, and then even understanding how to develop the right advertising to continue to push your message. So that's I'll drop the link to the calendar in the what is this thing, in the chat. No pressure to book, but if you book, we'll chat and see what's the right direction, and if we're a good fit to work with each other, and then I'll be able to also explain what that looks like. And I am trying to get my link. While I get my link, I can answer one last question. I should have had this already. That's
For the coaching, do you also, because I remember when I first was in the mastermind last year, I don't remember what it was, but
yeah.
I've been sick so long. But you were going in and setting up the Facebook ads. Do you still do that, or are you coaching
Yeah.
us how to do it?
So it's still the coaching. So I walk you through how to do that. So a part of that captivate, create, captivate, capture, and close, that has to do with that section. So we have weekly coaching calls. If you can't make the call, you still have access to it. And then on the call, I go through all those details. But yes, advertising is included in that. So the reason advertising is included but not implemented individually is because I want you to be able to, at any point, be able to develop a new ad. So that way it's something that I can review versus us building. And then also, if you want somebody to focus on building it for you, I have people that can help build it. But I really like empowering people to be able to do. And that way you feel like, okay, I got my life together. If I need a new ad, I know my audience, I know whatever, but then I will view the ad copy, the content, to make sure that we're going the right way, as well as recommend and advise on that stuff. So it's all
So,
inclusive in that sense.
so your coaching is a program. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not an individual. You
So
can't do
it's
like an individual class.
it's a group coaching program where we walk through these stuff, and then I do allow for for one-on-ones. But again, that I have to break down that in the call of how that works, and then you can also ask those clarifying questions. But yeah, it's a group coaching, and the advantage of it is being able to be surrounded by people that are also growing. So just like the mastermind was that you were in, the group coaching is um, the group coaching is similar, but it is extremely detailed on getting those outcomes and positioning you, and it's formulated much different than a mastermind.
Okay. We'll talk later because
Yeah.
my capacity isn't that large, that much. So, okay, we'll
Yeah.
talk later though.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So otherwise, what I would love for y'all to do is, if you enjoyed this, if there was a great takeaway that you had, feel free to shoot me a video that shares your one great takeaway from the 5-step marketing system, because that helps me to share with other people, but from not my voice. Because people can hear me say it all the time, but if there's something that you uh, took away that will help you in your next steps, you can do that. If you want to lock in the call for the breakthrough session, uh, we can lock that in. Um, and those are available Monday through Thursday. So yeah, that's that. And I'm gonna stop this recording